Okay, in this problem, we got 2x to the third plus 5x squared minus 12x minus 30, and we're given 2x plus 5. The instructions say use the factor theorem to find all the real zeros for the given polynomial function and one factor. So they're telling us this 2x plus 5 is a factor. So we want to find the zero that corresponds to that factor. So if they say it's a factor, we're going to set that equal to 0 and we'll solve it. So I take the 5 over to the right side, becomes a negative 5. You take anything across your equals, your sign changes. Divide both sides by 2. And you get x equals negative 5/2. Now this is one of our answers, which is also another name for 0. So that's one of our zeros. We then want to take that and plug that into synthetic division based upon the polynomial here. Our largest power is x to the third, so we're going to have an x to the third. We'll have an x squared, an x, and our no x, our constant term. Write down a number that's in front of each one of them. So we got a 2 here, 5 here, negative 12, negative 30. So I'll add 2 plus nothing is 2. Then you multiply. Always multiply by number up in the box, by number you put down here. Negative 5/2 times 2 gives us negative 5. Add 5 plus negative 5 is 0. Multiply. You always multiply by number in the box, by number you put down there. Negative 5/2 times 0 is 0. Add negative 12 and 0 is negative 12. Multiply negative 5/2 times negative 12 is 30. And then add negative 30 plus 30 gives us 0. Now the factor theorem says that if you, and it's specific to this process here, if you plug in this value here and you get a 0 as a remainder, that means you found a factor. Now that's no big surprise because they said it was a factor, so we have to get a 0 there. Now, to get a 0 here says you found a factor, but it also specifically says you found a 0, which is what this negative 5/2 is. Now this is x to the third. Straight down below will be 1 degree lower, so this will be an x squared. And then after you have your first one, you'll have one for each power going down. So x, or x the first, and x is 0 or no x, or constant term. So we now have 2x squared minus 12 equals 0. And we're going to use the square root property to solve this. The reason why square root property is the easiest is because there's 0 on the middle term. So the negative 12 will move over to the right side, becomes a positive 12. Divide both sides by 2. And you get x squared is equal to 6. Now, square root property says if you got something squared equal to something else, then you're going to drop your second power, and you put a plus or minus square root around the other side. And I can't simplify that anymore, so you got x equals negative 5/2, and then our other two real answers are plus or minus square root of 6.